Hello? I see somebody come on. Hey, Margaret. Trying to get my camera adjusted, sorry. Yes, good to be home. That's what I thought we'd talk about, how good it is to be home, have a home, and be home. See some more coming on. Welcome, everybody. Hey, Claudia. Yes, good to be home, Claudia. I love to go, I love to visit, I love to travel, but there's no place like home. And it is good to be home. Hope you all are doing well tonight. It's a beautiful evening in the Carolinas. Just a beautiful sky here. Hey, Kimberly. Good to have you. I tried to do a little bit better at sending out invites. I noticed that in Facebook, it doesn't automatically invite everybody. I have to go in if it invites anybody that I'm friends with, but if you're not, if you haven't accepted a friend request from me, it will not invite you. So I had to physically try to go out and invite people. So, hey, I am doing great. A little tired still, y'all. Nice here in Tennessee, but hot. Yeah, I got you, Margaret. I bet it is. It's warm here too. It is warm. Oh, I bet Illinois is nice. I bet y'all have. I bet it's still probably a little bit cool. When you get up around those lakes, it gets a little windy, doesn't it? You probably get some good, cool breeze off of that. I've been to Chicago a few times, which I love. It's a beautiful city. And I love your Art Institute of Chicago. It's one of my favorites in the world. It's just, I love that place. But boy, it can be cold in Chicago off of those lakes. So there's something beautiful about everywhere that we go and everywhere that we visit. No matter where it is. I don't care if it's the desert, like dry deserts of Nevada, Arizona, even Death Valley, California. If you ever get a chance to go visit that, that's a beautiful place too. It's just its own unique kind of beauty. Yeah. Started getting nice in Washington. Well, I'm wanting to come visit out there. That is one thing that's on my list to do next, is visit Washington and Oregon. We want to drive the coast. We may do that in October, somewhere around October, November probably. I think we've decided that we're going to stick around South Carolina for the next couple of months and work. My husband's business, he said there's some shortages they're having on concrete, so we're going to kind of have to watch things, which I'm sure you all are experiencing shortages in one thing or another, aren't we? Just different times that we live in. Yeah. We're going to go ahead and get started. So I just wanted to really talk tonight about being back home and just some things I learn as I travel, and I want you all to experience traveling, and I don't want things to hold us back. Just because we are in uncertain times, that doesn't mean we need to live in fear, right? So we need to enjoy life, because we only have the moment that we're in right now. This is what we have, and we need to make the best of it and live it, not live it in any sort of fear, just to enjoy it. And I noticed that when I traveled this last time, I will say this, I love the people of Colorado. The people of Colorado were very good to our family, and very hospitable, almost like Southerners. Very, very friendly. So, and I know that maybe you've had a different experience. I don't know. But my experience, typically, no matter where I go, I find that you always find good people. I don't care where it is. I've heard negative things about going to New York, like Manhattan, about people being rude, but that's just not true. I find that New York people are very friendly and very willing to help. They may be a little more direct in how they speak, but once you understand that, and really, they want you to do well. They want to help you. They're eager to help. And so is Colorado. I found that too. So I think sometimes it's what we bring, it's what we're expecting is what we find. So I expect to find good. I expect to find wonderful people, and I believe they are out there. I will say a couple of things I did want to bring out, and I've said that before I've done little short videos that I've posted, like little reels, but I was going to say it tonight. Hey Bridget, so good to have you. I wanted to address it more a little bit tonight and kind of talk about it. And if you have any questions, please comment. When you're traveling now, it's different. It's not like it was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. And even, let's go back and farther. When you traveled on an airplane 20 years ago, it was a big deal, right? It was made to be a big deal. Your meals, your drinks, your food, your accommodations, even I would say your airline people, as far as you want to call them a stewardess or whatever they call them, they have different names now, but whatever you want to call that person that comes down the aisle and delivers your waters or your meal, that's different than it used to be. It used to be a very glorified thing, and it's not so now. They've cut out a lot of perks as far as snacks and food and that sort of thing on shorter trips, which used to always have those items. And not only that, the airlines, maybe, I'm trying to remember back to what it was like 20 years when you flew, because I didn't fly a lot, but I did fly probably as far back maybe as 30 years ago, maybe. I just remember it being more of a big deal. I think you were celebrated more. Let's put it that way. I believe that we were celebrated more as passengers, customers. They celebrated us more. So anyway, it's not to say that they're rude to you. I'm not saying that at all. It's just that it is a little different, and we have to be mentally prepared and mentally ready for that, so that we know what could be happening or what could be coming. Hey, Judy. So glad to have you, Judy. So that we know how to respond and what to do. So here's what I have noticed. Definitely, sometimes food and stuff is very limited. It's very limited. So when you're in the airport and you're about to get on your plane, it might be a good idea to have a snack. You can have food even in your backpack. You just cannot have any liquids. So make sure you have something, especially if you're a person that needs to nibble. You need to bring little things like that with you. Okay. Family to Hawaii. That's awesome, Kimberly. I hope you do. I hope you do. So just be aware that it'll be limited what you get on that plane. Short little trips. It's not like you need anything anyway. But you also want to be careful about not drinking a lot before you get on the plane. So you have to get up and down, and especially like if it's coffee or something that's caffeine, and have to use the bathroom a lot, because you're sometimes very tight in there with people that you're sitting in. Not only that, you're limited on your bathrooms, on where you can go to use the bathroom, and the bathroom is tiny. They are just, I tell you, I don't see how a big man can hardly get turned around in one of those things. It is like standing in a tiny little closet. Hey, Sean, good to have you. So just try to think about what you're going to eat before you get on that plane. I'm not saying don't drink, but don't overdrink. Don't overdrink, so you have to get up and use the bathroom a lot. Especially, too, you got to be careful if you're on a long flight. You want to be careful not to eat anything that would hurt your stomach, because that would be the last thing you need. So just make it real minimal what you snack on and what you eat. So that's one thing. But the other thing is, this is what I'm noticing, and I'm seeing an increase in it. So just be very aware. If you're flying, be very aware of this one thing, and that is delays and cancellations. I have never seen it like it is now. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if they do not have enough personnel. I do not know if it's something to do with the planes. I'm not sure what is going on. Or if everybody is trying, so many people are flying now because they've been pent up from COVID and they're ready to go. That's probably part of it. It's probably a little bit of all that. But plane cancellations is something I have experienced both times, the last few times I've flown, back to back. We were canceled on when we were in Florida, which is not a bad place to be delayed, but it would be if you didn't have a hotel. It would be if you didn't have transportation or no way to get around or money. Because I'm pretty sure that some people were canceled. Their flights were canceled when I was flying out of, I believe it's Fort Lauderdale. They were delayed, and then it went to cancellation. And 2 days. It cost us 2 days. So thank God we were making reservations while we were standing in line because we realized what had happened. So we went ahead and started finding a place to stay. But we were talking to others who were in those same lines, and they were saying it was like they were watching the rates go up on their phones for the hotel rooms. Once, I guess, the hotels were starting to get booked and the demand was going up. So, need to always make sure we have a plan B. The other thing is I was thinking about was the lounges in the airports. So, if you're going out of a little tiny airport, this is really not an issue for you. But let's just say you got a layover in Atlanta. You have a layover, maybe you're in Chicago. Somebody in there was saying you're from Chicago, you're from Illinois. Let's just say you have a layover somehow in Chicago. Atlanta's a major hub. Charlotte. Trying to think. Dallas. We had to fly through Dallas. So any of those. Hey, Victoria. So good to have you, Victoria. So any of the major hubs that you go through, make sure you know where those lounges are. And you say, well, Melanie, I don't have access to a lounge. Well, you get access. You figure out what it is that you need to do to get you access. And you do that before you go. Some of your credit cards, especially if you have an American Express, they give you access to certain really nice airport lounges. So I would highly encourage you, if you don't have an American Express, get the ones that give you access to these lounges. That's another. Also, if you have a credit card that is connected somehow to a major airline, like I think American Express has one that's connected to Delta, and maybe, let's see, Advantage. There's American Advantage, which is connected to AA. And I don't even remember what card that is. But make sure, I would highly encourage you to get one of those before you travel. So get your card that has somehow got some sort of perk. And there's another reason for that as well. Here's another thing to tell you that's getting crazier and crazier. They've made it to where they charge for you to check luggage. You have to charge. Some airlines, it's different on no matter what, depending on what you're flying. So a lot more people are bringing their luggage on the plane. So they're bringing like a backpack. This is what I do. I bring a backpack and I just bring a piece of luggage that I can roll. And I put the luggage up above, and the backpack goes basically under the seat in front of you. So many more people are bringing luggage on the plane. So if you're one of the last ones to get on the plane, guess what? There's nowhere for your luggage. And sometimes we are waiting and sitting waiting just for people to get on because they can't find a place to put their luggage. Because so many people now, they're bringing it on the plane so they don't check it underneath. So, and I'm saying that to say this. Certain cards, whether if you've got a credit card connected to, like, let's say it's American, and you're on American Airlines, you can board earlier. You can board in a group that does not go last, because that last group, there's just nowhere for the luggage to go. So, and maybe you do want your luggage to be checked. Maybe you don't. I don't know. I really prefer to take mine on because we have lost luggage before. It's not such a big deal when you're coming home, but it's a really big deal when you're going out there and all your clothes, everything you had, your shoes and everything are gone. So just be aware that if you board later, you're not going to have room for your luggage. It's going to be frustrating. And you don't need that. It's already stressful enough when we're traveling to deal with things like that, especially if you're traveling in a group. It's kind of stressful anyway, keeping up with all that. So do your part beforehand. Find out about those lounges. Find out what lounges are in the airports that you're going to be going through. And do you have access to like either the airline lounge or a credit card lounge? Centurion is a really nice lounge that you have access to with certain American Express. I do not know which American Express. Some credit cards will give you free access. Some will give you access with a fee of like $29 a person. But that's not terrible if you're stuck there for 3 hours. And actually, this last time we were out there, we had access, and it was free with our credit card. We had access to a Centurion lounge. And because the flight was delayed, we were able to be in there for like, I think normally they won't let you come in to 3 hours prior, but we came in earlier because our flight had gotten delayed. So we sat in a nice area, and it was really, we didn't have to pay the $29 a person, but it would have been worth it because that was our meal. We had nice clean bathrooms. We had a comfortable place to sit. We had that. They even had a game room. So we could have snacks and whatever and just sit there and relax and not be right out in the middle of that airport, you know, tripping over everybody's luggage, trying to find a place to sit, trying to relax for 4 hours or 5 hours. It was actually 5 hours that we were in the airport. But that's a long time. So I did want to share those tips because I just don't want you going through that. And you don't have to. That's unnecessary. So check into getting you some sort of credit cards that have perks and be aware of what those perks are so that when you do travel, and I want you all to travel and to have a good year this year, and things are opening up. I think England is back open now. Let's see, England, Ireland, I think Iceland, and there's many places. And I think in Hawaii, I don't believe they make you test there anymore. So there's so many places that are opening up, which also means there's so many more people that are going to be traveling that you and I are going to be competing against to try to get a hotel room, to try to get a flight, and then just lo and behold, if that flight, hey Loretta, if that flight gets canceled, then that is when it's difficult. Then they've got all those people to try to get onto another flight. So if you can have some sort of priority, whether you're Delta priority, you have a better chance of getting a flight out or them working you in to a flight. So, and they look at all that. They look at what your ranking is with them. So having a credit card that's connected to Delta or whatever, just look and see what that is. But I just highly encourage anybody that is traveling now to just be aware of the possible hurdles you might have to jump. That should not discourage you from traveling. You should travel, and I want you to. And I had a fantastic time, and it was worth, even though we did run into some little obstacles while we were traveling, it was definitely worth it. It was beautiful. Where can you go and get snow in May, the end of May, but Colorado, up in the Rockies? It was just beautiful. It was a little spooky for me, driving through the mountains with 25 degrees outside and it's snowing, but you know, I did it, and I enjoyed being there with my family, with my daughter and my husband. It was beautiful, and the people were so welcoming. They were so good to us in Colorado, and we really needed it. If you'd seen my video that I did about a week ago, about maybe a little bit over a week ago, we had some issues that we were dealing with the senior trip, but you know what? God worked everything out, and everything worked for the best and to our benefit. So, but it is good to be home today. It's good to be back in South Carolina. That's where I'm at, and it is quite warm here. You wouldn't know it by when I'm sitting in this little jacket, but in my house I keep my air. I don't know about you ladies, but I keep my air down really low. we keep it a little cool. So, does anybody have any questions? Any sort of trip that you're coming up on or you're planning? Because we were looking at going to Hawaii. Hawaii is just, You might want to check out some, I don't know if you do any Airbnb or VRBO.com. I'm noticing that, I can't believe the hotels. They're $800 a night, y'all. I mean, what the heck? $800 a night? I was seeing $800, $1,100, $700, $3,000. I mean, that's a lot of money for one night to stay somewhere. I mean, to me, I'm thinking, I don't want to spend too much more than that for a week in some places, but that makes it challenging. But some of the VRBO.coms, if we're willing to be flexible, some of those are some great options to stay in a condo. Stay in a condo in Hawaii. I was looking at some condos, let's see, in Maui. I was in Maui. And some of those were very reasonable. And they were on the coast. So check out those. Check out your Airbnbs, your VRBO.coms. And, hey, Elizabeth, good to have you. So check those out. Do your homework. Read your reviews. Always read the reviews. See what other people are saying about this place, whether they like it or not. You're cheaper there in Montana. I love Montana, too. It's been a big sky. It's definitely got a big sky, Sean. I love it up there. It's pretty. Well, yeah, I visited Yellowstone years ago. So it's a really pretty area. Very beautiful hotels. But that's good. That's good to know, too. I like to know where some good prices are, so maybe that's where I'll go. But right now, I think we're planning a trip down the coast. It'll probably be November. We will probably fly out and take a Jeep. We like to rent Jeeps because we can put the top down. And we're going to go down, we've never been down the Pacific Coast. So that's our plans right now. Let's see. Oh, that's great, Claudia. She rents out a condo. So you got connections. My niece is in Maui, and that's why we wanted to go out there for her birthday, but we just can't hardly find anything. Hey, Anna. Good to have you, Anna. So, but traveling is changing, y'all. It's changing. We just got to be ahead of it. We've got to change with it. My husband's very good at doing a lot of the research, and he's very good at the lounge part. He knows, like, this is if we get delayed, this is where we go in this particular lounge. And then if you get canceled, you just need to have a backup plan for that as well. It's nice to have hotel points where if you have to, you can stay free for a night if you have to go somewhere. Okay, you're in Billings. Okay. Yeah. And that's good. Yeah, I looked at some of those Best Westerns somewhere. I think Hawaii had some. We were looking at that too. We tried to look at so many different ones, but everything is in such demand. So just be aware. When we're all planning trips, whether it's a vacation or spending time with family, just be aware of things have really, and I'm not saying it's all because of COVID, but I think what has happened is people couldn't work. You know what I mean? They weren't able to work there for a while. They were laid off, and now businesses are having a very unique time hiring back workers. They're understaffed. Everywhere I've gone, just about, it's understaffed. People are really not up to 100%. And particularly I'm speaking about restaurants, anything in the hospitality industry, whether it's the hotels, whether it's the restaurants, and anything like, I noticed even like Uber. I used to be able to Uber for pretty reasonable, but I've looked at some Uber prices. The last time I looked, I believe I was somewhere in Colorado. I can't remember where it was. Oh, I was at the airport. We were at Denver, and I was looking at getting an Uber. It was $128. I'm thinking $128 for an Uber to go. I think it was a 10-minute drive, 12-minute drive. So I'm not sure why that was so expensive. You pretty much tolerated with traveling, but your husband. How do you deal with him? He just doesn't like to travel? Is that what you're saying, Claudia? Well, somehow you got to help him to get a change in his outlook. that he associates something good about traveling. So, because it can be stressful. And I'm usually the one in our family that gets a little bit stressed. So the more mentally I am prepared, which is what I am doing. Oh, he has no patience. Okay. Well, I understand that too. But I'm the one. I usually, the more I've researched and I am understanding what is coming or what can come, the better. And there's a time to be a little impatient too. Like, for instance, when we were in Fort Lauderdale and they canceled our flights and delayed it, well, we couldn't fly out for 2 days. We had to be pretty quick on getting a hotel. So there's a way that can be used. So let's try to look at that as the positive part of his impatience. But we do have to take an extra ounce of tolerance. Let's just say tolerance. Because most of the people that are going through the airports, and even the people that are working, they're good people. They're doing their jobs. Everybody's just trying to get from point A to point B. And we just need to know, and I highly recommend going in those lounges. We hit a lounge if our layover gives us enough time, like, I don't know what that would be. Really, 45 minutes is not hardly enough time to get from a terminal to the next terminal, because sometimes in these airports, they're so big, just to get from terminal A to terminal B might take you roughly 10 minutes by the time you go from gate to gate. It might take you 20. It depends on where you're at. If you're ever going through Atlanta, to me, Atlanta is one of the best laid out airports. Once you realize how it's laid out and you realize how to get around, you can. But not all are like that. Some you still have to walk, and those are the ones that take so much time. And if you ever travel internationally, we traveled and we went through Amsterdam. My goodness, it seemed like that airport was like 2 or 3 football lengths long. I don't remember any trains in the airport getting you from one area to just like one long. It was like it went right down the side of the runway. So anyway, we just have to understand. So I'd say make sure you check out those lounges and make it fun. So if you know he has no patience, figure out what it takes for him to enjoy it. I don't know what that is, but you probably do. So whatever it is that can help him to look forward to it. Yeah, Denver, I know. Denver did have they do have the train, but it's not laid out like Atlanta. Atlanta it's like on a loop. It's easy to get on, get off, and so quick. I noticed it in the Denver airport, which is a beautiful airport. What kind of got us the first time we went through there was all the exit signs. Now, you're going to laugh at me, but this is true. And when you're walking down through the main, concourses, it'll say exit to baggage claim or whatever, ground transportation. And one would be to the left and one would be to the right. And I'm like, what? How can it be both? But it just directs you down. But in the beginning, that was really confusing. I'm like, which way do we go? I mean, all these exits, and they're all saying go this direction. And you can pull up those airport layouts, but sometimes that doesn't help me a lot, because sometimes you don't have enough time to figure all that out unless you do it beforehand. See, that can change. Your plane can be rerouted just like that. So you might be going to have a layover in Denver. Next thing you know, you are going through Salt Lake City. You're going somewhere totally different. So it does require an extra dose of flexibility. Let's see. Hey, Dottie. Where did you say that was? Refresh my memory on what was it? Well, something was talking about Atlanta being a good airport to go through. Denver wasn't terrible. Charlotte, to me, Charlotte is not laid out that great, and it's growing. So they'll probably end up getting a train to help you get around, but right now they don't have anything like that. It's a beautiful airport, though. It is new. A lot of it's new. Let's see. Amsterdam. Maybe that's what you're asking. Amsterdam was the one that when we went overseas, that it was very long. I do not remember any trains. We got picked on just a little bit, my husband did, as far as, how they do your random security checks. They got him, but every time he got off, they would get him. I guess that big old American guy, he looked suspicious or something, because they would check him every time. So, but that was Amsterdam. I've not been through Heathrow. Heathrow in London, it's a big one, but I've never been through that. So I don't know how that one works, but they all work differently. And some work great, and some not as good. LaGuardia had a lot of changes. I haven't been through it recently, so it's big. O'Hare is huge. Cleveland is big. I've been through Cleveland, not realizing it was so big. Yeah, well, sometimes you better be prepared for the layovers, because you can't have them. They actually can cancel your flight and not give you any compensation, not pay for nothing. So it's kind of a little disappointing to see. But, well, listen, ladies, I am going to sign off. It's great being out here with you. Today was just travel tips. Just good to be home in the Carolinas. It's beautiful. I hope you all are doing well. Please comment, post. Let me see what's going on in your lives. And kiss the window. Okay. There you go, Claudia. Put him by the window. And made a cocktail or two. I don't know. That may be what it takes to help him with his patience. But I hope y'all have a wonderful evening. And it's so good to see y'all out here. Thank y'all for being with me. Bye-bye.